All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe. I'm back on the 68 Barracuda notchback for my buddy Darren at Blake's Muscle Car. Today, my goal is, I had to show my face because they say you're supposed to on YouTube. Today my plan is pull both fenders, pull both doors, and start my jambs. I've got my front pieces primed. I didn't really film that. I've got a good short just of me quickly showing this nose piece was in bare metal. I had a big dent right here, and you can see my beautiful run in my primer. Had a big dent here. I got it all hammered and dollied out, and it looks good, but like, you know, the back side of that panel, there it is from the factory, kind of a funky ugly red. So I think what I'd like to do is get it scuffed, treated with rust mort, and get it painted as well. So I need to paint it. I need to do the bottom of the back side of that panel. Just because when people raise the hood and look in here, you know, someone's going to see and notice. I will black all this stuff back out, so it needs to be prepped today, or the next couple days. If it was red originally, it'll go back red, but you can see just a beautiful, like a perfect straight black line there. You know, it, as I always say, it looks like somebody came in drunk and just shot some black, tried to just black it out quick and dirty. So I'll do a little bit better than that, obviously, but I want to treat the back side of these fenders. But having the entire car in primer, to me, is a really big step, because I can walk by and put my hand on it here, and I don't have to worry about that rusting right there. It's protected now and coated. And now I can go section by section and finish my body work and prime. And this thing will be painted before you know it. So this fender is loose hanging. I can go ahead and get it yanked off and kind of show you more of my process as we go. And I can take my bolts out here. Y'all know how to, most people understand how to unbolt a fender. It's not a big deal. I've got to roll the car out and pressure wash all this funk in here and get it painted and treated as well. So as we peel the onion, I'll bring you along. Here's what the inside of the fender looks like. And that's the good old factory bare metal there, where they put it together and put a kind of a bead of seam sealer or something. Probably keeps it from squeaking later. This is kind of mud and stuff that's packed under there. So I got to pressure wash all that out. A lot of the undercoating is going to come off, but when I touched the other side with the pressure washer, it really did well. So I think I'll go ahead and get it soaked down with my degreaser, let it set for a minute, wash it, come back, go through the process a few times, and just show you as it gets cleaner. But here's where all I've done. I did all the dent repair stuff on that side, and I need to actually resand this. I've never sanded that before because I knew this fender was going to come off. But resand all that and then coat, do my direct metal there, and paint all this stuff here. So let me get dirty and I'll be back. Fenders off, hanging out here. I've laid them upside down and pressure washed them, and I had to find a good cloth. I actually used that bubble wrapped plastic to lay this front side on so it wouldn't hurt anything. I got a little bit of like rinky dink scratches in my primer, but most of this is getting sanded off anyway. A lot of that old paint just blew away when the pressure washer hit it. So now that I have it hanging up here, I can sit inside my little cage and work on that stuff. I might lay it back over a minute, flip it over, multiple angles, all that. But I can really stand here and sand with my tools, be able to get all that edge, get it nice and stripped down, all the funk off of it. I've got this mostly ready to roll outside and pressure wash, except a couple things to address. And they're not bad. All this old seam sealer, body putty, whatever you want to call it, I hate to leave that in there because you can clearly see there's a gap. You know, it's not sealing anymore. So it probably needs to go. See, comes out real easy. So what I may do is just get out my good old chisel and knock this crap off. See, there's a big wad up here. It looks like they shoved from the factory. That if it's not moving, I might. Oh, there we go. Yep, Boom, done. You know, that was a little excessive for that spot, I would say, but I wasn't the man putting that in 50 years ago, so he might have had a better idea than I did. But just digging all this fun out. I will take the doors off soon. I'll probably actually leave them on for my wash because it still has a nice weather strip seal. There's the old flap to keep your, let the air out whenever you slam the door. But besides that, I had to cut our little bolt off here. It had been previously stripped and was just hanging in place, so cut her off. Darren is going to do all new QA1 front suspension stuff, so I'll do my pressure wash first. There's a lot of good old, I think he said that was old Texas mud when they lived down a gravel road or something. So that's cool. Reliving some of the history of this thing. But yeah, getting all this cleaned, dressed, and my little rusty spots like that treated. So I'll take you through the process. I'll have to pop these off in a minute too, but I thought it'd be easier just to hang them there and pressure wash as well. Had a little cleanup over here just with a wire wheel real quick before I pressure wash this. But you can see I'm washing out all that nasty rocker. It's working pretty well. After that dries out, I can stick my tube in there and do like an internal frame coating. Eastwood sells a good can of that stuff, and it seemed to always work nice for me, but I just wanted to show y'all how much drainage is happening here. That's really good. It wasn't plugged all up. And I can just kind of move my hose around where it'll get some, break some new stuff loose. Easy. There we go. Here's what this looked like after another pressure washing. Pulled the front bumper brackets off. So you can start to see it's still pretty crunchy in here. I gotta vacuum that stuff out, dig it out. But here's the side that I've been working on since then. So everything that's bare metal is going back red. I don't have to scrape this off. I was told not to. So that's just kind of been our flow of this so far. I gotta do my rust treatment here, those little spots. Most of that body putty's off. And here is our paint. I got 3 quarts of Omni base coat. And that color is crimson, the R6. That transfers over to Matador red. Also, this is Omni acrylic enamel, so I'm gonna do under my hood, my jambs with that quart of acrylic enamel. It's gonna be good to go. It's a solid red color, so it's super easy. There should be no blend problem because they were basically out of the same cans when they were mixed. Just a little bit different makeup is all. So I want to see what the red looks like, and as I'm running out of time, I think those frame rails and also the core support from the front side will get it shot in red while I got red in the gun. I might have enough time to load up my black to black it out also, but we'll just see how it goes. So here's where I left off at. These jambs have to be painted. And I've talked with Darren about this. You see, I left the door gaps were so wonderfully perfect. I left one hinge on the body and I'll leave the other hinge on the door. So when it goes back together, they'll be a lot easier to line up. See how this, you can clearly see where that bolt used to be. So that'll get us very, very, very close to back where it was. Most of this is stripped down to bare metal. You can see some of that little ugly right there. I can treat that again with rust mort. I've done rust mort one time on this before I left the other day, and I realized, oh no, it's got a little bit of surface rust popping up. And there's, you know, some of the undercoating is still left on here. That's totally fine for what we want. And I say we, I mean, Darren's kind of given me permission to do whatever I think is best on this. And again, he doesn't want a show car, he wants it to be nice. Nice driver, that's what we're after. So in saying that, there are a few things that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And again, he doesn't care how I blend this or do or whatever, but I kind of, when he was here last time, I showed him, you know, like stuff like that. That's bare metal. That line here, you know, a lot of the old paint's kind of chipping there. There's a little bit of surface rusty stuff somewhere, but you know, if it was something like this, like that's factory color, I know my lighting's kind of bad, and it's still glossy and looks wonderful, I can tape up to it. It's fine. Like, not a big deal on that. I just need to be sure my new acrylic enamel doesn't somehow wrinkle or do something funny on that one, so we'll get to that later. The stuff up here I'm ready to shoot. I don't want to get it wet again because I'm going to actually shoot that with rust encapsulator before I paint it, and we'll talk about that more. This is all stripped down to bare metal and been rust mortared, so it's getting very close. Same thing here. I mean, you can see how it's eating into the metal. There's a little bit of rusty stuff there, but the beauty of the encapsulator is it lands on it and traps the rust, kills it, whatever. That's part of its job. So on a lot of this, probably from basically here forward, all that'll be beautifully blacked out again. Any spots like this, I've already brushed over them, ran over them, but the undercoating is staying. I can shoot my rust encapsulator over that and it'll re-black it back out and look nice. I'm still going to shoot color over that frame rail. I think that looks a lot nicer being shot in the same color as the rest of the car. I'll shoot this in an encapsulator and then paint over it. You know, when you open your door, it's nice to see the beautiful red in here. And of course, redding around this. But a couple of my challenges are going to be, this is an old warranty sticker. There you go. It doesn't have anything on it anymore, but he wants to keep that. It's part of the originality of the car, and that's, in my mind, is super cool. Something else. There's our super old original sticker here for tire pressure and stuff. That's super cool in my opinion. So, and I know I may have called this a notchback before. You see where it says HT fastback and convertible. That's probably hard top, if I had to guess. But like, that's a rusty spot that needs to be treated. Something done with that. You know, where the seal panel used to be, or kick panel, whatever you want to call it. You know, this bubbled up stuff here needs to go. Get it all the way stripped down, and you can kind of see his old like Plymouth Prowler red there. That stuff's got to be taken off and treated. So all I'm going to do now, I've simply got a red Scotch-Brite and some Dawn and water. I want to brush over this whole thing, staying away from my sticker, far away from my sticker. Right, that's got to stay protected. And I can kind of get into here a little bit, just scrub around, wash it off, and see really what's going on. Because you know, stuff like this I can probably DA just fine. DA the top of this really quickly, work that stuff. But when I get into finite areas, I don't want anything messing that up. So I'll be back. There we are. See some of that old nasty seam sealer and stuff, it's got to go. I basically need to strip all that out of there where it meets the quarter. I got me just some fine box tape, basically. You see the lines. I got that from Blake at Bad Tree Productions a while back, Blake and J-Bo. But I took a piece and taped to my piece of tape, so I just had the edge of the tape to be sticky right now. So now I can start my power sanders and stuff. I just wanted to strip a little off here by hand. You can see our old black stripe. I'm gonna get a measurement for it in comparison to our door striker. I know the striker's not gonna move, and I may could even use that line there, but it'll be in this video so I can reference it later when I stick that sucker back on. Here's how simple this can be. I got an old speed square here. If I tuck it in that corner tight, the bottom of that stripe is right at 5 inches. See it's there? And that'll get me really close to a nice ballpark. After this thing's painted, I'll be able to slide them around and get them just right. But 5 inches from that bottom corner. Also, remember, I've got my measurements for my doors as well. So it'll be nice once it's all back together. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and attack these funky, chunky, rusty, nasty spots with my wire wheel, get it all stripped down nice, anything like that. That big dog here, I make it even take my flat disc too, run over it some. Now, that's what a little progress looks like. I got it pretty well stripped. I got a little bit more fine hand sanding up into here. Right, get that old little bit of orange off. But we got us a new rubber coming, so I'll get it pulled. And I got a lot of masking to do, but it's gonna be great to have I'll probably set my door hinge like that so I can shoot it with my several coats of stuff here. And you'll see those in a minute. I got all the nasty old seam sealer out of here. You can see that finite rust. So I gotta get that treated as well before I'm actually gonna spray my rust encapsulator, for those who wanna know. Rust encapsulate this whole shebang. Everything is bare metal right now. Once it flashes enough, I can come back and do my 2K primer, which I'm gonna probably use my direct metal primer just because I like it. I might thin it just a little bit, put me a coat over everything that's gonna be repainted, so I don't, you know, this stuff up in here that has the little red showing, I'm gonna leave that black. But example like this frame rail, I can shoot my 2K over it if I want to, but the stuff through here I really like and want it to look nice, which I want it all to look nice, obviously. I can shoot my 2K over that. Same thing on the other side, and the 2K is basically just gonna be a sealer on top of the rust encapsulator. I've done this before. It worked very well in the past. I have no fear about it at all. Once I get that sealer on, I can get my new seam sealer, excuse me, and do my seams all around the front, every crack, stuff like that, factory body lines. Let it tack off. I think it wants 30 or 55 minutes or something. I have to double check. And then I can shoot my red. And we'll have beautiful red paint in the jambs, under the fenders, and the core support. And I can come back another day and scuff up my red in the front to shoot my black on. I'm not gonna do that today. I just don't think I have time. We're looking all pretty good here. I got a little bit more to do on this jam. And just, like I said, preserving my sticker. I've got a hand sand up right next to it to make it look wonderful. And get my masking paper out and back mask all that stuff. That way I don't have any overspray. Get my windshield masked off. I might even blow the top of the car off and just put some blankets over it. There's no need to just keep stacking overspray on stuff. I'm not really into that, so I'll get the car blown off, covered up, masked off. We'll be shooting when we come back. Here we are. So I have 2 coats of my rust encapsulator. This is actually rust encapsulator plus. So you do not have to top coat it, but it clearly says you can. I double checked online. It is not an acid etch primer. So I can use my standard, find your number on this, 8500 seam sealer on it, which is good stuff. It just needs about 30 minutes to skin over after you put it on. So I'm gonna quickly hit my spots, come back, and we'll finally shoot some red on this thing. Everything. I really like the black because it actually shows if there was any high, lows, ugly, dirt, anything, it would show it. So I think minimally I will just tack this off after I put my seam sealer on, and we'll be in business. You see I've got my striker taped, and I have my very loose, nice tape over my original sticker there and here. So we'll peel those off here shortly after I seal my seams. We are sealed up. This is Matador Red going on. I used a Omni acrylic enamel here, and I just mixed it about 4:1, reduced it. It's already pretty thin if you're familiar with Omni paints. So here we go. I'll probably do 3 coats and see what we get. We are jammed up, folks, in the best possible way. Let me get my light out so I can show you. I peeled off my little sticker, or my tape, to show you my little sticker. I had to put about 4 coats over the seam sealer because it was white, and I went ahead and did the same 4 over the black. I realized that black is a little harder to cover over and get the full amount of red, but I think it kind of made it pop. It looks pretty nice to me. Don't step on the light. There we go. Got minimal texture, maybe just a little trash, but you can still barely see a little bit of the whiteness in that seam sealer. It doesn't matter, it's behind a fender. But now it's got 5 or 6 coats of goodness on it. Oh, look, doesn't that look so much better than the Texas mud caked in there 3 inches thick? And now when they put their new front K-member in, it'll look sharp. That's kind of what I was after. Let me walk around the other side. There's our front. And of course that gets blacked out. Other side, it's just a little darker over here. I had my O light on my head to really be able to see, because it's hard to paint in a dark shop. So I may be in a booth when I do the rest of the car, but I'm super tickled with this progress. Let me go ahead and get my tape off our striker there. I don't like leaving that sort of stuff. There we go. There it is. And I still got to do around my doors, but I'm gonna call Jambs done for the day. This is so much nicer than it was. We're all looking pretty in red. I'd like to get this thing outside soon and let it dry out some, but that's all right. I still may go back and do a little bit of undercoating or something just to tidy up a little bit. She's way better. That's a fact. I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you next time. Also, I was told to mention, if you want to use any of the products that I'm using on this car, I've got an Amazon store link below. It'll be the same price, but if you click the link, I get commission for that. I don't know what it is, not very much, but it's easier, I think, to find the items if they're already in a list. I also have other lists for like engine building stuff and engine build, big block, small block engine build stuff. So y'all check those out as well, and I appreciate y'all watching.